Historic conflicts.
The Roman Empire stands as one of the most influential civilizations in all of world history. Spanning centuries and continents, it left an indelible mark on law, culture, language, engineering, and governance. Yet the story of Rome is not just one of grand monuments or powerful emperors. It is also a narrative forged in the crucible of battle. Throughout its rise and fall, the Roman Empire engaged in conflicts that not only determined its own fate, but also altered the course of human history. To understand the true legacy of Rome, one must look closely at the pivotal battles that shaped its trajectory. Each of these confrontations tells a story, not just of military strategy and valor, but of ambition, innovation, resilience, and the shifting tides of power. Let us begin with one of the earliest and most decisive clashes, the Battle of Cannae in 216 BCE. The Roman Republic, not yet an empire, faced its most formidable adversary in Hannibal of Carthage during the Second Punic War. Hannibal, having famously crossed the Alps with his elephants, brought his army to bear against a Roman force nearly twice the size of his own. At Cannae, Hannibal employed a brilliant double envelopment tactic, surrounding and annihilating the Roman legions. The scale of the defeat shocked Rome, with tens of thousands of its soldiers killed in a single day. This disaster could have spelled the end for the Republic, but Rome's response offers a powerful historical lesson. Faced with catastrophe, the Romans did not sue for peace or collapse in panic. Instead, they doubled down, raising new armies and refusing to negotiate. This resilience, this refusal to accept defeat, became a hallmark of Roman character. The lesson here is clear. In the face of overwhelming adversity, persistence and unity can lead to eventual victory. Rome would ultimately outlast Hannibal, turning the tide and emerging stronger than before. Fast forward to 31 BCE, when the fate of the Roman world hung in the balance at the Battle of Actium. In the wake of Julius Caesar's assassination, the Roman Republic was riven by civil war. Two titans, Mark Antony and Octavian, vied for control. Their final confrontation came not on land, but at sea, off the western coast of Greece. Octavian's fleet, commanded by the shrewd Agrippa, outmaneuvered Antony and Cleopatra's larger but less cohesive forces. The victory at Actium was more than a military triumph. It marked the end of the Republic and the birth of the empire under Augustus. From Actium, we learn the importance of adaptability and the decisive role of leadership. Octavian's careful political maneuvering and reliance on trusted lieutenants ensured the loyalty and effectiveness of his forces. Antony, by contrast, was distracted, his alliance with Cleopatra seen by many Romans as a betrayal. The lesson endures. In moments of crisis, unity of purpose and clarity of vision are crucial, while personal ambition and divided loyalties can prove fatal. As the empire expanded, its legions encountered new cultures and formidable enemies. One of the most renowned clashes occurred in the dense forests of Germania at the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest in 9 CE. Here, 3 Roman legions under the command of Publius Quinctilius Varus were ambushed and destroyed by Germanic tribes led by Arminius, a former Roman ally. The defeat was catastrophic. Rome would never again attempt full-scale conquest of Germania east of the Rhine. Teutoburg Forest stands as a stark reminder of the dangers of overconfidence and underestimating one's opponents. Varus dismissed warnings and failed to adapt his tactics to the unfamiliar, hostile terrain. The result was annihilation. This battle teaches the value of humility and leadership, the necessity of understanding local conditions, and the perils of complacency. Even the mightiest power can falter if it ignores the realities on the ground. The centuries that followed saw Rome reach the zenith of its power, but also face new threats. One of the most critical battles of the later empire was the Battle of the Milvian Bridge in 312 CE. Here, Constantine the Great faced his rival Maxentius for control of the Western Empire. The night before the battle, Constantine reportedly experienced a vision, an omen that led him to adopt the Christian cross as his standard. He emerged victorious, and soon after, Christianity would become the favored religion of the empire. The Milvian Bridge was significant not merely for its military outcome, but for its far-reaching cultural and religious consequences. The lesson here is that history is shaped not only by arms, but by ideas and beliefs. Constantine's conversion set in motion the Christianization of Europe, altering the spiritual landscape of the continent for centuries to come. It reminds us that leadership often involves recognizing and channeling the deeper currents of faith, culture, and identity. As the empire aged, external pressures mounted. In 378 CE, at the Battle of Adrianople, the Eastern Roman Emperor Valens faced the Visigoths, who had been allowed to settle within imperial borders as refugees. Poorly treated and desperate, the Goths rebelled. At Adrianople, the Roman army suffered a devastating defeat. Valens himself was killed. This battle is often cited as the beginning of the end for the Western Roman Empire. Adrianople's lesson is profound. Empires are not brought down solely by external enemies, but often by internal failings, mismanagement, corruption, and the inability to integrate new peoples. The Romans failed to accommodate the Goths, sowing the seeds of rebellion. The empire's growing reliance on barbarian mercenaries, rather than citizen soldiers, further eroded its cohesion. Effective governance, inclusion, and adaptability are essential for any society's longevity. Through these battles, Cannae, Actium, Teutoburg Forest, Milvian Bridge, and Adrianople, we see the recurring themes that shaped the Roman Empire and, by extension, world history. Military innovation played a critical role. Roman legions were renowned for their discipline, organization, and engineering prowess. The roads they built, the fortifications they constructed, and the tactics they developed set standards for centuries. Yet even the greatest military machine was vulnerable to overextension, complacency, and internal strife. Another key lesson is the importance of leadership. From Scipio Africanus, who defeated Hannibal at Zama, to Augustus, who founded the empire, to Constantine, who embraced a new faith, the fate of Rome often turned on the vision and decisiveness of its leaders. Conversely, poor leadership, characterized by arrogance, indecision, or disconnection from reality, brought disaster, as seen with Varus at Teutoburg or Valens at Adrianople. The Roman experience also demonstrates the double-edged nature of expansion and integration. Rome's genius lay in its ability to assimilate diverse peoples, offering citizenship, law, and order in exchange for loyalty. Yet, as the empire grew, the strains of governing a vast, multicultural realm became apparent. The failure to adapt to changing circumstances, to integrate new groups peacefully, or to reform outdated systems contributed to Rome's decline. Perhaps the most enduring lesson of Rome is the impermanence of power. For centuries, the empire was seen as eternal, the embodiment of order and civilization. Yet, in the end, it succumbed to forces both internal and external. Its legacy, however, endured, transmitted through law, language, architecture, and the very idea of the West. In reflecting on the battles that shaped Rome, we are reminded that history is a tapestry woven from conflict and cooperation, ambition and restraint, innovation and tradition. The choices made on the battlefield echo through time, influencing not only the immediate victors and vanquished, but generations to come. For modern societies, the Roman example offers both inspiration and caution. The value of persistence in adversity, the necessity of wise and inclusive leadership, the dangers of complacency and overreach, and the transformative power of ideas all remain as relevant today as they were 2,000 years ago. As we contemplate the rise and fall of Rome and the battles that defined its history, we are compelled to ask ourselves, what lessons will we draw from the past? How will we respond to the challenges of our own time? The answers, perhaps, lie in the enduring story of Rome, a civilization forged in struggle, defined by resilience, and remembered for both its triumphs and its tragedies.